All right, what we got going on today is we are going to, I just wanted to give you guys a couple extra examples on graphing. There's going to be also some more on like finding regular information, whatever you want. All right, so I know, like I said, this has been tough sometimes, especially with the K values and you guys trying to remember everything. So I wanted to give you guys a couple extra videos, a couple extra things to look at. Make sure you know what you're doing. All right, so with everything, make sure you guys, and for the most part you guys have been pretty decent at this, but we're gonna go through it. All right, so your amplitude is 2. Your K value, remember it's that number being multiplied by theta, is 2. Okay, so period. Again, I wanted to go through these because I think the biggest issue has started to become when you have to graph when the K value is not 1. All right, you guys were pretty good at the other one. So our K value is 2. And again, if you guys don't have this written down somewhere, you really need to, okay? Because this is the important part over here, right? So we're going to take that 2 pi for our period and we're going to divide it by 2, which gives us pi. Okay, so our period is now pi, which means our end point over here is always going to be pi. In this one, okay, our increments, what you're going to count by on the graph. You take that, whatever your period is, and divide it by 4, which would just be pi over 4, right? Okay, here's the big one, your phase shift. Been a major issue with all of this. You guys are forgetting the one major part. Okay, and it is right there. You need to take that thing and divide it by K. If you don't, you are wrong. Okay, so do it right. Now, the other thing that's been a small issue, that's a positive. Okay, it's inside parentheses. So it's always, your left and right movement is always opposite of what's in there. So this one has to go left. Okay? All right, now increments. So we've got all our, ooh, I forgot. Our vertical shift is going to be a -1, or if you guys want to say down 1, whichever way you want to do it is fine. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're going to label. Okay? So our increments are pi over 4. You're counting by, if you want to think of it as 1/4, think of it that way. So pi over 4, 1/4, 2/4, or 2 pi over 4, which is half, 3 pi over 4, and then pi. Okay, and then the negatives, use the same ones, just make them negative. Okay, and can we skip? I'll just go by ones. Don't forget, you guys can make these, you can label the y-axis however you want. You want to skip a couple, go for it. Okay, now, one thing that I think has been really helpful for a lot of people is when you're graphing is making a chart. Okay, so if you're not doing that and you're having issues graphing, this is probably a good idea. Okay. Now, big thing when you do this, okay, start with your phase shift. Our phase shift is left pi over 2. So our first point is going to be a negative pi over 2. And then we're going to go to negative pi over 4. And then 0. And then pi over 4. And then pi over 2. Okay, you can keep going if you want, but again, it's up to you. All right, so from here, it's the same thing you're always doing. We're using sign. So we're using that 1, 0, -1. Nope, that's not it. Wrong one. Again, we're using sign, so you're going to use 0, -1, 0, 1, 0. Okay, make sure you're using the right one. Obviously, I just did. It's not hard to just make sure you use the right one. Some of you guys are using the wrong ones, I think, every once in a while, so just be careful. All right, and then remember, all this in here is all getting replaced with these numbers, right? So it's going to be 2 times 0 minus 1 is negative 1. I screwed up again. Wow, that's bad. Okay, 2 times 1 minus 1 is 1. 2 times 0 minus 1 is negative 1. We got a negative 3. And a negative 1. Okay? And then you graph, right? So at negative pi over 2, if you're doing this, slight malfunction here, if you're doing this, then that makes the graphing easier because now all you have to do is plot your points. You're going to negative pi over 2, negative 1. Negative pi over 4 is at positive 1. 0 is at negative 1. And then pi over 4 is at negative 3. And then pi over 2 is at negative 1. Okay? Now, for the rest of it, keep going, right? Take a look at what you've done. You went negative 1, 1, negative 1, negative 3, negative 1. Guess where you're going to go? Follow your pattern. You went up 1, down 2, up 1. Right? Follow that same pattern again. I'm sorry, go up 2, down 2, down 2, up 2. Right? Do the same pattern. Up 2, down 2, down 2. Okay? For the negatives, okay, we've had some issues here with when you have to go backwards. If you feel that it's necessary, use this again. Or, right, go backwards, use another thing. Count, start all the way over here on the right and follow the pattern. You went up 2, down 2, down 2, up 2, down 2, down 2. And then up 2. And then there you go. Okay? And there's your graph. I'm missing anything, did I? Oh, we're good. All right. Actually didn't need that last one, but that's okay. It's still there. All right, so use your pattern as you're going through and doing all these. I think part of that is, part of being able to figure out this pattern is going to make your graphing a whole lot easier as you go through. All right.